nervous because I'm here now.
Hey guys, welcome into another episode of 410 Sports Talk. My name is James Haskell, along with my co-host Glenn Martin. And today we're going to talk about some storylines, the ultimate fallout. If there was any love that existed between these two franchises, there isn't anymore. Not that there was a ton going into this game, but there's officially none. So we're going to talk about some of the storylines at the end of this game, some opposing opinions about what happened. Two things that I want to bring up, and we'll kind of go from there, Glenn. One, of course, the Ravens were on the logo, and there's some differing opinions about that. And then they left the field without shaking the hands of the Tennessee Titans. So I'm going to stop there, and I want to get your thoughts on some of those things, and we'll go from there. What was your take on those two things? How did you feel? Like initially, were you one of those people that cringed, or were you like cheering them on? Where were you at?
Yeah. So initially, the first thing is the logo, because that happened in the middle of the game. Well, towards the end of the game, but during the game. And I was pumped, man. I was jacked up. I mean, you have the scene right behind you from the game, the game prior here in Baltimore when I think there was definitely some animosity going into that game in week 11, but the respect was still there, even though, and as we'll get into later, some of the shots that the Titans took towards the Ravens at the end of last year's playoff game, which I thought were kind of a little bit of low blow. But then when they came into our stadium in pregame and most of the players had already left the field at this point and started dancing and jawing and wiping their cleats off on the logo and cutting it up and getting into it with John. So when I saw them do this yesterday, when I saw Peters leading the charge to the logo and Derek Wolfe doing the stanky leg, I was pretty excited. I mean, I was pretty pumped because in my opinion, it's just like, Steph Curry, when he shimmied on when guys shimmy back on him, he says, look, if you're going to shimmy, you got to be willing to get shimmied on. Okay. And they just got shimmied on. Okay. So it's not like they just came up with this out of nowhere. I'm sure this is something the Ravens would have never done had not been provoked by the Titans doing it earlier this year. So I don't have any problem with that. But as far as when they left the field, first of all, I was pretty surprised to see Lamar immediately lead the charge, waving his teammates to follow him into the tunnel, not willing to shake the hands of the opponents. It surprised me. I'll say that. But once I start peeling back some more layers to this onion, some stuff I missed on the field in real time, which actually I'll let you talk about, Jimmy, because you caught it in real time. What did you see in the game from the Titans players? Yeah,
man. Oh, Malcolm Butler. There was a run off to the left, and we were near. This was a drive where we ended up with a field goal, I believe.
Yeah, it was 10-0 at this point.
Yeah.
Yep.
And Lamar gets up, and they're jawing back and forth, and he flips him the old bird, gives him the old middle finger. Nothing happened. Of course, the refs don't see it because who knows why. But anyway, so and Lamar, I feel like I'm reading Lamar's lips properly. He's like, all right, I got you. Mm-hmm. I got you. And then of course at the end of the game, people took they kind of got hurt when Lamar broke that run, and then he sat himself down inbounds and kind of pointed mockingly at Malcolm Butler. Yep. But he was saying, dude, hey, look, I told you I'm gonna get you, and I got you, and this is what it is. So I don't know. For me, I think like you said, they've done a number of things to put a target on their back, right? Yes. And blatantly disrespectful things. And they've been backed up by their coaching staff time and time again. Just like when you have a child and you enable that child, it is only going to get worse. But what do you do with a bully, Glenn? You punch him in the mouth.
That's right.
You just punch him dead in the mouth. Mm-hmm. And that's what it is. And that's what we did.
And they didn't like it.
No, of course not.
It doesn't feel good, does it? It feels good when you're in the winner's side of things, but when they're now getting us, having us dance on their logo in their house and going out of their house with a victory, it doesn't feel good. But yeah, let me quickly recap. They mocked Big Trust last year, which was the slogan of the year last year. Mm-hmm. Everyone was rallying around Big Trust.
Anything towards them?
Nothing.
You know what I mean? Like nothing aggressive towards them.
Nothing. Maybe there was a perceived hate from the media from them, and kind of not a lot of pundits giving them a chance going in the game. But that wasn't the case from the Ravens side.
Right.
So they cast the first stone, if you will, by mocking Big Trust. Then they come into our stadium, as we said, dance and wipe their feet on our logo. And then to compound the problem, when Harbaugh asks them to quit being disrespectful, they cuss him out and tell him to get out of the way. And then when Harbaugh brings this to the attention of their coach, Vrabel, he backs his players and pretty much just blows off John Harbaugh and tells him to go coach his team. When this is about respect, I mean, this is a game of football where they take the respect thing very seriously. And clearly there's a pattern now forming of disrespect towards the Ravens and really unjustly. And then the middle finger at the end to Lamar, a guy who everyone can tell you. I mean, I've never heard a player speak a bad word about Lamar, opposing or his teammates. So it was just a compound effect. But what I love most about it, Jimmy, is just the fact that this team rallies around its guys, whether that's Lamar, whether that's Coach Harbaugh. People can say what they want about Harbaugh. Is there a team that played harder over the weekend than the Baltimore Ravens? I don't think so. Right. Is there a team that had their back of their coach? And don't think that people didn't hear it when they said, where were the players? It was only Harbaugh out there being the tough guy. Well, most of them had already been in the locker room, we find out. And believe me, they heard the noise because Lamar mentioned it. They were out. He was out there by himself. Well, not this time. They weren't going to let Harbaugh be the one defending himself alone. They weren't going to let Lamar Jackson be the guy that takes the brunt of the pressure of can he win this game? Can they win a playoff game? No, they did it as a team. I love the way they all, they just did it. They just backed their coach. They backed their quarterback and they did it together. I loved it.
Yeah, no, I agree with you there. And the other thing that you can't forget, Jeffrey Simmons last year spit in Marshall Yanda's face. Marshall brought that up. I don't think anyone would dispute Marshall's claims because he's not a complainer. And he's not. And he said, look, this is not something I take joy talking about, but it needs to be said. The NFL needs to review it. Jeffrey Simmons spit in my face. He said number 98 just because he didn't, remember his name. But there's a multitude of cases, right? Like there's a call in soccer where you get a yellow card for persistent infringement, right? Like every time somebody beats you over and over again, all you do is take their legs out because you get beat every time, right? So like there's a certain persistent infringement on the side of the Titans where like over time it's going to add up, right? Like you keep poking the bear enough. But the one thing I want to focus on really quickly is that I don't like seeing some of the comparisons. Some of the people are comparing this walk off the field, no handshaking thing to like the Pistons, Chicago Bulls thing. And, they make it to me, not comparable because I think what Lamar Jackson was doing when telling his team, look, we're out of here. Was like, look, we don't want anything to do with this team. We're on to the next. We don't want to put in jeopardy our chances of having a player available, getting a guy fined, or getting in a fight or anything like that. We're done with it.
Yep.
We're over. Let's just go home. Let's get the win, and we're off. We're back to Baltimore. Like I really think that was his true motive. Let's not even get, because you knew that if they went to midfield, it was going to be nothing but an altercation.
Is there any chance Marcus Peters could go shake hands with them and not get into an altercation?
Right. Zero
That's
chance.
A great point.
And Lamar's a great leader who knew that.
Yeah.
That's to me all it was.
Yeah.
He was saying, I'm going to preserve my guys.
Yeah, because I think Lamar could have handled it, certainly, and shaken Tannehill's hand. I don't think there's any doubt. But there was a lot of emotion in this game running throughout both teams. And there's no doubt to me a Malcolm Butler, Marcus Peters dust up or something like that could have occurred had they decided to shake hands. So yeah,
well, and when you got a coach like Vrabel who's going to incite insurrection, right? Yeah. Like he's not going to stop it.
He's a linebacker, man. He's still a linebacker at heart,
Right. So he's not. I mean, he's going to spear somebody if anything. He's not. Yeah. So
now, but let me ask you this last question because some people said, well, would you have preferred they be the bigger man? And I thought about it. Would I have preferred them to overlook all that? And normally I would be for that, but I don't think I would have in this case because I think there was too much disrespect from one side. And look, at some point, like you said, you gotta smack a bully in the mouth and you gotta teach them a little, give them a little taste of their own medicine. I think that's what they got yesterday. And man, it was sweet as a Ravens fan.
Oh, absolutely. And I'll say this, being the bigger man, I think is exactly what Lamar Jackson did when he waved his team off the field, because they were going to do nothing but to go rub their noses in the fact that they won. They were going to go do nothing but smirk and smile and laugh and stomp on the logo some more. So I think that is a way of just, look, let's let them die in dignity. Like we did it. They're dead. Let's leave. That's it. Right. So
good point.
I don't consider it, to give my definitive answer. I don't, the logo thing to me was there was,
they had that coming.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, yeah, when you build up so many things and do so many things against a team like the Ravens or any team, you got it coming to you. So I don't consider it a disrespectful or a classless thing. I'm glad they defended their coach, and I heard that it was not about disrespect; it was about solidarity towards and unity towards John Harbaugh. So way to back up your coach.
Mm-hmm.
But let us know what you guys think. We want to
Yes.
know, what do you think about the logo at the end of the game? And of course, don't forget about what the Titans did to us. What do you think about the not shaking of hands coming out of the game? Give us your thoughts, and we'll talk to you guys soon.
See you. See you.